Professor Gampala, you can start.
Good evening, one and all.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Just a minute, sir.
Hello. Good evening, sir. Sir, I have
Good evening, Babita.
yes, sir. I have a question to Gambala, sir. Sir, in which
Yes.
method we have to analyze? Is it in vivo?
Can you repeat?
From the last class, I wish to want to answer that in which method we can analyze this. That is in vivo.
In vivo.
Actually, in vivo is the statistical software that you can use for the data cloud.
Okay.
Can it
So,
is possible
Yeah,
for all?
data cloud you can that you can do. This is
Okay.
for the data mining
But-
purpose.
Sir, is it visible, sir?
Yeah, in vivo one has to purchase.
No, sir. My PPT is visible.
Yeah, your paper is visible. Thank you. Today you have arranged very nicely. Thank you.
Sir, in vivo is one software.
Yeah, in vivo is the software. One has to purchase the software.
I have another idea, sir. Actually, I think in vivo, in vitro, there is the separate term in our health study. In vivo and in vitro, there the separate two terms are there. That's why I have the.
Okay, that is different. But
Okay,
particularly
that is-
for the qualitative data analysis.
In vivo and in vitro, there are two biophysical methods of
Yes,
data
yes.
collection. And this, Bobita di, what she is asking about, in vivo, the spelling is something different. That is capital INVIVO. There no space in between in and vivo. In vivo is a software that is used for the basically for the epidemiological study, as far I know. Sir, correct me please if I am wrong.
Yeah, I understand. Oh, you are talking about the in vivo, INVIVO.
Yes, yes,
yes,
sir.
sir.
Oh,
Yes,
acha, that is different. Okay.
I am talking only in vivo.
I am
That
thinking
was last classes
NVIVO.
madam has taken.
That is
Okay.
software used for the epidemiological study analysis and data mining, data clouding as
Yes,
I
yes.
referred.
Yes.
That's why I'm also asking that in this method, but by using this software, we can analyze all types of qualitative studies. That's why I want to ask.
Qualitative study, particularly if you want to do the data cloud, the data frequency, that is data mining, that you can do by the NVIVO. NVIVO.
WL, sir.
Yes, sir. Please you start now.
Is it visible?
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay. Good evening, WL, sir, and dear students. Today our topic is narrative analysis. In this narrative analysis, I am going to cover some of the subtopics, that is introduction of narrative analysis. What is narrative research? When do you use narrative research? How did narrative research develops? Then types of narrative designs, then examples for types of narrative research forms, then characteristics of narrative designs. Then identify some potential ethical issues in gathering stories. Next one, understand the steps used in conducting narrative research. Then list the criteria for evaluating a narrative study. Then conclusion. So first, we'll do introduction, then what is narrative research, then followed by when do you use narrative research, then how did narrative research develops, then types of narrative designs, then examples of narrative research forms, then we're going to discuss about characteristics of narrative designs, then identify some potential ethical issues in gathering stories, then understand the steps used in conducting narrative research, list criteria for evaluating a narrative study. So conclusion. So first, what is narration? Anybody have any idea about narratives? Yes? Anybody? Students.
If you wish to report some conversations between two persons or two people regarding any experience, that at that time we can use this narrative.
Yes, exactly. So narrative means people tell stories to share their lives with others and to provide their personal accounts about classrooms, schools, educational issues, and the settings in which they work. So people tell stories, people there share life stories with others. So we are man is a social animal. Without society, one cannot live. Yes. So every day, from morning to evening, we do mingle with others, whether at home, while traveling to the office, or your workplace, or during your workplace, wherever you are. So you have to share your things, stories with others. So this is about classroom experience, about your school experience, then about your educational background, educational issues, and other settings which they work. This is about narrative stories. So these stories reported in qualitative narrative research enrich the lives of both the researcher and the participants. So as a researcher, his life will be enriched by listening to other person's life stories about their classrooms, about their schools, about their educational issues, and other things in their lives. So this is beneficial for both researcher and participants. Next, what is narrative research? So the term narrative comes from the word to narrate or to tell in detail. So as a story about your school, about your education, about your life, about your any important life event. So you have to narrate the story. People used to, in olden days, there were giant families. What do you mean a giant family? Combined family, grandparents, parents, aunties and uncles and siblings will be there. So every emotion will be carried from the grandparents to children. Then respect others, take respect and give respect, and other things. Many things we learn by observation, by imitation. So this term narrative comes from the word to narrate or to tell in detail. You have to tell in detail. So researchers describe the lives of individuals by listening to their narration. by their story. Collect and tell stories about people's lives and write narratives of individual experiences. So as a researcher, he used to describe the lives of individuals, collect and tell stories about people's lives, and write narratives of individual experiences. When do you use narrative research? So there are some specific time and specific context. When you have individuals willing to tell their stories, if they are willing, then only you can do this narrative research. In a teaching learning process, when do you teach to the students? When they are ready to learn. When they are ready to learn, then only we can teach them something new concept. When they are ready, how come you understand they are ready? The students, the learners, when they are attained certain physical, mental, social, emotional maturity, then only we can understand that they are ready to learn. So likewise, when do you use this narrative research means when you have individuals willing to tell their stories and you want to report their stories. This is the first and foremost criteria to do narrative research. Without their willingness, you can't do this research. So for educators looking for personal experiences in actual school settings, narrative research offers practical, specific insights by conducting narrative studies. These researchers establish a close bond with the participants because the individuals willing to tell their stories about their actual school settings. So that's why narrative research offers practical, specific insights by conducting narrative studies. So researchers establish a close bond with the participants. Then only they can reveal their story about their school, actual school settings, and other practical things. They will give specific insights. If you establish rapport or close bond with the participants, then telling stories is a natural part of life. Everybody can tell his or her own story about his childhood days, about good experiences at school, home, community, and so on and so forth. So telling story is a natural part of life. And individuals all have stories about their experiences to tell others. So they can share their stories. So from combined family, they listen to many stories from their grandparents about their courageousness, about speaking truth, about respect. So this emotions, this storytelling carried from the generation to generation. But nowadays, all families have become nuclear family. Father and mother both are working. They are busy with their homework, or they are busy with their jobs. Then kids are busy with their smartphones. So there is no storytelling at home. So everything they will be Google it. For everything they will depend on Google. So telling stories is a natural part of life, and individuals all have stories about their experiences to tell others. So in this way, narrative research captures an everyday normal form of data that is familiar to the individuals. This is very normal phenomena. This can be captured an everyday. So normal form of data that is familiar to the individuals, both This narrative stories will be familiar to the researcher as well as participants. So an example of this micro vision, consider the case of they have given some case, that is Mayor, who had two children in her fifth and sixth grade class, wrote stories about their personal lives. So you can ask the students of fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, they can write, they will write about their father, mother, and other persons in their lives. So another story is about a 9-year-old who considered himself as a inventor and writer, kept a scientific journal of his discoveries, and wrote an expressive piece about his grandmother. So children do like their grandfather and grandmother. Here, example of Anthony, a 9-year-old who considered himself as inventor and writer. He kept a scientific journal of his discoveries and wrote an expressive piece about his grandmother, somebody's grandfather. Okay. Then third case, third example, Anita, a 11-year-old, wrote about good times she had in a swimming pool, learning to play kickball, and being able to succeed at something. But due to this globalization, children are not allowed to play outside. They are not exposed to sunlight even. At home, AC rooms. Then during school, while traveling, there will be AC car, and school also will have AC classrooms. So they are not able to play with others nowadays. But this is about 3 examples of the narrative stories, narrative research. First one is 6th class student. Second one, 9-year-old. Then third one is an 11-year-old who wrote about the good times she had in a swimming pool, learning to play kickball, and being able to succeed at something. These are some examples. Then how did narrative research develop? So the narrative term, called it, embraces all of the human sciences, so that this form of research is not the providence of any specific field of study. It is a life study, no? There is no specific field. It includes every field. Writers in literature, history, anthropology, sociology, sociolinguistics, and education all lay claim to narrative and have developed discipline-specific procedures. So it is everybody's piece of research. Writers in literature, historians, anthropologists, sociologists, and sociolinguistics, and education. So these all different disciplinary experts contributed to develop this narrative research, development of this narrative research. So narrative research, a growing number of interdisciplinary social scientists. What is interdisciplinary? Combination of more than 2 disciplinary subjects like literature, history, anthropology, sociology, psychology, education. Likewise, it is a growing number of interdisciplinary social scientists outside education have offered procedural guidance for narrative reports as a form of qualitative research. It comes under qualitative research. Then types of narrative research designs. So narrative research assumes multiple forms. if you plan to conduct a narrative study, you need to consider what type of narrative study to conduct. Narrative research is an overarching category for a variety of research practices. So examples of types of narrative research forms. Autobiographies. What do you mean by autobiographies? Anybody? What do you mean by autobiographies?
Autobiography is a life experience of a person written by him or her.
Okay. Then what is biographies?
Biography is the life story of a people written by another person.
Yes. Then life writing, it is individual life stories, individual life events. Then personal accounts about his personal things. Then personal narratives about his school, college, background, experiences. That is personal narratives. Then narrative interviews. So some famous personalities will give interviews. He can give narration about the his specific field. Then personal documents, his achievements and documents of life. Then life stories and life histories. There are some examples of types of narrative research forms.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes. Yes. Yes, please. Then oral histories, ethno histories, ethnobiography, autoethnobiographies, ethnopsychologists, person-centered ethnographies, popular memories. What is oral histories? Oral histories, it means there is no documentation. The history is only in oral form. Likewise, ethno histories, ethnobiography, autoethnobiographies, ethnopsychologists, then person-centered ethnographies and popular memories. These are the different examples of types of narrative research forms. Then, who writes or records the story? A biography is a form of narrative study in which the researcher writes and records the experience of another person's life. It is a biography. So it is written by somebody about other person. So a biography is a form of narrative study in which the researcher writes and records the experience of another person's life. Typically, researcher construct biographies from records and archives, although researchers sometimes use other source of information such as interviews and photographs. So we may come across so many biographies, biopics are there. In they took some movies also in Hollywood, Bollywood also. There are some movies based on biography. Famous cricketer, famous actress, famous politician, freedom fighters. So that is the researcher sometimes uses other sources such as interviews and photographs. Then sometimes he will visit their ancestors. He will visit their family members to collect the information. Then sorry. That is about biography. Then in an autobiography, the individual who is the subject of the study writes the account. Although not a popular approach, you can find reports of autobiographical accounts of a teachers as a professionals. So teachers can write their individual subject of study. So this is about biography and autography. Biography means somebody writes somebody's person's life. Autobiography means the person will record about his life events by himself. Then how much of a life is recorded and presented? So a life history is a narrative story of the entire life experiences of a person. It is a life history. Then anthropologists, for example, engage in life history research to learn about an individual's life within the context of a cultural sharing group. So anthropologists are always looking about their cultural background of the individual. Engage in life history research to learn about an individual's life within the context of a cultural sharing group. For example, in our India, there are many cultures, many traditions, customs, value system. Yes, we have a different caste system, tradition system. We have Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Zoroastrians, and so on and so forth. Likewise, we have different OC, BC, SC, ST, and in that also there are some nomadic tribes. So their cultural setting is different. They live in forests, deep forest. They will not mingle with others in a town or nearby cities. They always live with their own community. The forest is their space. They will not come out of the forest. So anthropologists look for them. So here individual life within the context of a culture sharing group. Then a personal experience story is a narrative study of an individual's personal experience found in single or multiple episodes, private situations, or communal folklore. So this is about individual personal experience, personal story rather, is a narrative study of an individual's personal experience found in a single or multiple episodes. So the story can be a single one, then it has gone multiple episodes. Usually all these days, movie makers also making part 1, part 2. Okay. So likewise, this personal experience story also single or multiple episodes. Then it includes private situations or communal folklore. Then who provides the story for the narrative analysis? So this is the third approach for identifying the type of narrative is to examine closely who provides the story. This factor is especially relevant in education, where types of educators or learners have been the focus of many narrative studies. In education, there are different learners, above average, average, below average. Then they come from different socio-economic background, different family background, different other things, socio-economic status, different cultural background. Okay, so learners have been the focus of many narrative studies. You can take different students, they will narrate their different stories. So those stories may be different types. So example, teacher stories are personal accounts by teachers of their own personal classroom experiences as a popular form of narrative in education. Researcher reports teacher stories. So teacher story is a personal account. There will be a single story. Whereas if you take learner story, because of their different dynamic background, their cultural background is different, their ethnic background is different, their values, traditions, family background, their socio-economic status, their family status. So you can find many narrative studies from the learners, whereas teacher's stories is a personal account. So many different individuals in education settings can provide stories such as administrators. In education, administrator means from top to bottom: district education officer, mandal education officer, then headmaster, school teacher, then class teacher. So there are different stories from the administrator. Then school board members, school management committee members, SMC members. Then custodians. Sometimes children will stay with the custodians, the relatives. Then food service workers. So midday meals, the worker will provide food service to the students. Then other educational personnel. So in education, you may find different narratives from the administrators, school board members, custodians, food service workers, and other educational personnel. Then is a theoretical lens begin used? Yes, a theoretical lens in narrative research is guiding perspective or ideology that provides structure for advocating for groups or individuals in the written report. So narrative story will be in a written report by individual or another person. It must be a written document. For example, collecting the stories of marginalized individuals or women stories. You can collect the marginalized means nomadic tribes, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, about their history, about their background. Then feminist, that is women stories. Then can narrative forms be combined? So in a narrative, it is possible to have the different elements listed above combined in the study. For example, a narrative study may be biographical because researchers write and report it about a participant in a study. It is a biography. It means researcher write about some person, research report about the other person. So a narrative study may be biographical because researchers write and report it about a participant in a study. That is biography. So this same study may focus on a personal study of a teacher. So sometimes this same study, you can focus on a personal study of the teacher. Then what are the key characteristics of narrative designs? This narrative researchers explore an educational research problem by understanding the experiences of an individual. So in education setting, there are the teacher faces so many problems because all students may not be equal learners. There are different learning styles exist among the students because of their psychological background, because of their socio-economic status, because of their family background, because of their family structure, economic status, because of their parents' education, parents' stage, that is whether they belongs to rich, poor, middle class. So this narrative researchers explore an educational research problems by understanding the experience of an individual. So some students may come always late because of their family problems. Because both parents are went to field, then he has to look after the younger ones. That's why he or she may come always late. Likewise, there are n number of problems faced by the students. So that is why in educational research problem, by understanding the experience of an individual. So the stories constitute the data, and the researcher typically gathers it through interviews or normal conversations. So these stories called field text. So everything will be recorded, documented in a written form. So the stories constitute the data and the researcher typically gathers it through interviews or informal conversations. So these stories called field texts. Then narrative research characteristics. First one, it seeks to understand and represent experiences through the stories individuals live and tell. So it seeks to understand and represent experiences through the stories of the individuals, his life and other life. Then it seeks to minimize the use of literature and focuses on the experience of the individuals. So it seeks to minimize the use of literature. There is no literature, there is no grammar at all. So focus is on his life experiences of the individual, his life experiences. Then it seeks to explore the meaning of the individual's experiences and told through a story or stories. So sometimes single episode, then multiple episodes. So seeks to explore the meaning of the individual's experiences as told through a story or stories. Then it seeks to collect field text that document the individual story in his or her own words. So individual has to write his or her own words. There is no literature, there is no grammatical errors. The meaning is the story meaning is important. Then seeks to analyze the stories by retelling the individual story. So once they recorded some story, then the researcher has to retelling the individual story. Then seeks to analyze the stories by identifying themes or categories of the information. So you can analyze the stories by identifying themes or categories of the information. And it seeks to situate the story within its place or setting. So what is you have to look the context and what is the place. You have to seek the situation, the story within its place or setting. So it seeks to analyze the story or chronological information about the individual's past, present, and future. So past is life is this, likewise, like this. Then present is living lifestyle is this. Then future you will live likewise. You have to divide the story in a chronological manner. Chronological information about the individual's past, present, and future. Then it seeks to collaborate with the participant when writing the research study. It seeks to write the study in a flexible storytelling mode. It seeks to evaluate the study based on the depth, accuracy, persuasiveness, and realism of the account. So you have to look for the depth, accuracy, persuasiveness, and realism of the story. Then major characteristics of narrative research. So experiences of an individual in social and personal interactions. So experience of individuals in a social and personal interactions. Then chronology of experiences, that is past, present, and future experiences. Then life stories, first person or oral accounts of actions obtained through the field text, that is data. Then restoring or retelling or developing a meta story from the field text. So you can collect the text from the field, then you can restore it or retelling the particular story or developing a meta story. You can create your own story. Then individual experiences. So coding the field text for themes or categories, incorporating the context or place into the story or themes. So if you come across some story, you have to categorize that based on the different themes or what category of the particular story, incorporating the context or place into the story or themes. So collaboration between the researcher and the participant in the study, such as negotiating field text. You can collaborate with the participants, such as negotiating in field text. Then some potential ethical issues in gathering stories. So when gathering stories, narrative researchers need to be cautious about the stories. Is the story authentic, or it is real, or it is a rumor? So the participant may fake the data. Sometimes they will fake the data. So providing a Pollyanna story or a story with a typical Hollywood ending, where the good guy or girl always wins. So you may come across many movies. Okay, always good guy will wins in the story. Then the three-dimensional space narrative structure of narrative story. First one is interaction, then second one is continuity, third one is situation. First, interaction. Interaction means the personal interaction based on an individual's feelings, hopes, reactions, and dispositions, as well as the social interaction to include other people and their intentions, purposes, assumptions, and point of view. So this is interaction. So by interacting with others, you can come to know individuals' feelings, individuals' hopes, individuals' reactions to some extent, and individual dispositions as well as the social interaction to include other people and their intentions. So while interacting other persons, you come to know his feelings, hopes, reactions, and dispositions, as well as the social interaction to include other people and their intentions, other people's purposes, their assumptions, and their point of view. Through interaction, you come to know your feelings as well as other feelings, other purposes, and your assumption and others' assumption, your point of view and others' point of view, your feelings, other feelings, your hopes, others' hopes, your reactions, other reactions, your own dispositions as well as others' dispositions. This is about interaction. Then continuity. So a consideration of the past that is remembered, the present relating to experiences of an event, and the future looking forward to possible experiences. So past is past, it is remembered. So the present relating to experiences of an event, and the future then looking forward to possible experiences. So past is past, you may not recollect the past, you can remember the past events. Then you are living in a present related to experience of an event. So this is a present one. Then in future also you have to imagine. So looking forward to the possible experiences. Your imagination will be dependent on your future. Then situation. Information about the context, time, and place within a physical setting with boundaries and characters' intentions, purposes, and different point of view. So this is about situation. Information about the context. So you can your behavior may be different context to context. Then time, whether researcher interacted that person participant in the morning, afternoon, or evening. And place. So place, whether home, school, or working place. Place also important. Then within a physical setting with boundaries and character intentions, purposes, and different point of view. These are the three-dimensional space of narrative structure. First one is interaction, continuity, and situation. Then some potential ethical issues in gathering stories. So when gathering stories, narrative researchers need to cautious about the stories. Is stories authentic? The participant made fake data and providing a Pollyanna story or story with a typical Hollywood ending where the good guy or girl wins, always wins. Then steps in conducting narrative research. There are 7 steps in conducting narrative research. First and foremost, identify a phenomena to explore that addresses an educational problem. You have to identify the problem. That is educational problem. For example, some student having behavior problem. Some student may be having problem in reading, problem in writing. Some student misbehaves with others, stealing, injurious to self-injurious behavior. Then always disturb the class. Then somebody always get low marks for all exams from unit test to quarterly half-yearly exams. So there are some of the educational problems. So you have to identify a phenomena to explore that addresses an educational problem. So you have to identify the problem. Then purposefully select an individual from whom you can learn about the phenomenon. Select the individual student purposefully. From you whom you can learn about the phenomenon. So with him you can learn about some phenomenon. So collect the story from that individual. So you have to collect the story from that individual by interacting with individual, by establishing good rapport with him. Then restory or retell the individual story. So if you listen the individual story, then sometimes you have to restore or retell the individual story to him. Then he will add something new. Then collaborate with the participant or storyteller. So you can collaborate with him, participant or storyteller. Then write a story about the participant experiences. So you can write a story about the participants' experiences. Then validate the accuracy of the report. You can validate the accuracy of the report. Then how do you evaluate narrative research? So as a form of qualitative research, narrative research needs to be consistent with the criteria for a good qualitative study. So you can evaluate as a form of qualitative research, narrative needs to be consistent with the criteria for a good qualitative study. So it keeps the focus on single individual or two individuals. You can write the story of the individual or sometimes two individuals, reports the life experiences of individuals as told through their stories. So you can report their life experiences, whether single individual or two individuals, as told through their stories. So about their story, you can write a report neatly. Then restories the individual stories about and tells the story using a chronology with a beginning, middle, and end. So restory the individual story and tell the story using a chronology with the beginning, middle, and end. And possible not in this order. Sometimes, possibly, you can divide the chronological order that individual beginning of the story, middle story, and end. Sometimes it may not be possible. Then it describes in some detail to the context of story, that is the setting, the place where it occurs, the people involved, and so forth. So reports teams, that is 5 to 7 to emerge out of the story. So discuss some details to the context of the story. The context means it all depends on the settings, the place where it occurs, the people involved. So sometimes people involved in the story also, it gives different this thing and so forth. So reports themes, that is you can report the theme, that themes like 5 to 7 themes to emerge out of the story. Then closely collaborates with the participant, providing the story, and engages with the participant by having them check the evolving story frequently and examining the final story to see if it accurately reflects the individual experiences. So closely collaborate with the participants. As a research, you have to closely collaborate with the participant, providing the story, and engages with the participant by having them check the evolving story frequently and examining the final story to see if it accurately reflects the individual experiences. So if you listen the story about the individual, you have to record, you have to collaborate with them, then you have to write neatly, and you have to examine the final story to see if it accurately reflects the individual experiences. So what he has told about his life history, then what you wrote. So you have to cross-check. Then some useful information for procedure of research. So the individuals, those who are planning to do narrative study, they have to keep in mind the following some questions. Individuals planning to conduct a narrative study can employ the steps in the process. They have to ask themselves the following questions. That is, who writes or records the story? Next one, individual or researcher. You have to decide. Then, how much of life is recorded and presented? Then, who provides the story? Then, is a theoretical lens being used? Then, who provides the story? Then, the narrative journal article reported in this study provides one example of narrative research. It is used to identify the major characteristics of a narrative study and to model the composition of a narrative study. So you have to consider all these aspects while doing narrative studies. So conclusion, teachers and administrators with whom he shared this piece appreciated the acknowledgement of the challenges they encounter in their work with their students. So this narrative story research explained about the teachers and administrators with whom he shared this piece appreciated the acknowledgement of the challenges they encounter in their work with their students. So many teachers will face many problems in a classroom because of diversified classrooms existing in the school, college, or university. Then exploring the multitude of influences shaping student participation in school curriculum using a narrative inquiry approach to examining student experiences is also means of acknowledging the complexity of schooling and teacher preparation. So, olden days, BED was 1 year course. There is 2 months practice, teaching practice will be there. They really go to nearby school. They practice their teaching. High school friend, they will allotted 8th and 10th classes. They will go and teach class. They will present the school whole day. So they will attend the prayer. They will do all activities from 8 to 4:30. So this is the life experience to the practicing teacher. Okay. Likewise, student must participate in school curriculum using a narrative inquiry approach to examining student experiences is also means of acknowledging the complexity of schooling and teacher preparation. So some problem identified by the researcher, the problem student. So he has to see that he has to listen the view of student. What about the problem, cause of the particular problem, and he has to take the opinion from the teacher also. So usually in our B.Ed course, we'll try to inculcate all the skills that are required for the teacher. So now our teaching B.Ed course duration increases up to 2 years. They will be going to teach the students 3 months extensively. They will be at school. They will do all sort of teaching learning classes. They will teach. They will prepare question papers. They will value the question papers. Then they will do assignments. They will do assignments. Then they will participate all curricular and co-curricular activities in the school whole 3 months. So they will have multiple experiences in a school. So that is in this teaching preparation, we are giving all sort of teaching skills, methodologies, techniques, all things. So with this, they will do their teaching profession. After our B.Ed course, they will become a good teachers. So the need for guidance about how best to develop curriculum and pedagogy for students of minority background and the challenges associated with the working with diverse student populations. So as I told you earlier, there are different students in the classroom, above average, average, below average. Then forward caste, minorities, in minorities also, Muslim minorities, Christian minorities, then other minority background students. Then they may face a lot of issues related to their background, related to context, related to their socio-economic status, related to their traditions, values, customs, and challenges associated with the working with diverse student population. So some students may be having very low IQ, some may be having high IQ. So managing all sort of diverse students in the classroom, teachers faces some sort of problems. So those teachers can can make use of this narrative analysis for doing research. These are the assignment questions. First one, what do you mean by narrative research design? Second one, narrative about types of narrative designs. Write about types of narrative designs. Then what are the key characteristics of narrative designs? Then write the steps in conducting narrative research. Then last one is, how do you evaluate narrative research? Thank you.
Students, if you have any question, the forum is now open for discussion.
Yes.
Shara, one has written in the chat box.
Yes, sir. Madhukar sir, there's a question. Tejal has asked that, can you once again please explain the fourth and fifth point in steps?
Steps for the fifth point. Just a minute. Restory or retell the individual story. Yes. Collaborate with the participant storyteller. Yes. Am I right? Hello. So here in this narrative research, researcher is doing research on based on the storytelling by the participants. So collect the story from the individual, that is one case. Then restory or retell the individual story. So while after collecting the individual story, researcher himself will retell the story to the individual, the subject. So that if he missed anything else, he will add. Yes, you are getting?
Yes.
The participant will add something else if they missed out any point, any context, any theme, any chronological order, beginning, middle, or end. Okay.
Sir, in that case, researchers will tell the story to that participants only, no?
No, participant story, not researcher story.
Yes, participant story, researchers have to tell to the another participant or that participant only, sir.
Same participant, not another participant.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Am I clear?
Yes, sir, yes.
Is that okay? Okay. Yes.
Sir, there's another question by Subrata. She is asking how to measure the accuracy of narrative story.
Accuracy. Okay. Depending on the narration. Okay. It all depends on the individual participants. Okay. Here we are rely upon their individual only. Okay. Based on their inputs, you can analyze. There is no hard and fast. There is no meter to accurate that one. Okay. It all depends on the individual participants. You have to depend on the individuals. Then some Sarvari. Yes. Any doubt?
Yes, sir. Sir, so my question is, like if we're considering narrative analysis, so for example, if I have to study the experiences of women who have been through violence. So in that example, like we are also exploring the phenomena of violence through their lens. So it's kind of overlapping with phenomenology also. So I was wondering if two methodologies can exist in one study And like if they exist, then how do we deal with that?
Can you repeat? Sorry.
Yes, sir. So my question is that for example, like if I am studying, I'm just giving you an example of a topic that if I'm studying experiences of women who have been through domestic violence. So it is a narrative study, but at some point I'll also have to explore the phenomena of domestic violence through their lens. So I was wondering, like, will it be counted as a phenomenological study? Like, is there any intersection between these two studies? And like, do two methodologies exist in one study? And if they do, like, how do we deal with that?
So that is, you can study in a narrative analysis, marginal sections, and feminism also there. So both phenomenology and narratives, both are some sort interrelated. Okay. They are having interrelated interconnections, but both are not same. The phenomenon is different and then narrative analysis is different. You can take some inputs, they match some sort of inputs, they match some extent, phenomenology and narrative analysis, but both are not same.
No, so I understand that, but like the interaction between them. So how do we deal with that? Like, do we still take only one methodology, or is it allowed in qualitative methods that we take in multiple methods to study the same topic?
Here, whether in this narrative analysis, you have to follow single method as far narrative analysis is concerned. You may not use multiple methods at this stage.
Okay, so I'll only have to stick to one design.
Yes, you have to stick to one design.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Students, do you have any more questions?
Yes, Sumana Saha.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you have any query?
No, sir, not at this moment.
Yes. Still anybody have any doubts?
Students, please clear your doubt. I think in case of the narrative story, this is my perception. That is, you have to select the individual who is not having any psychiatric problems, psychiatric disorders. Otherwise, your data might be biased.
Sir, it is concerned with education settings, more probably. School settings. Problem students, those who are having behavioral problems, are educationally backward, some sort of behavioral problems. Okay. Then low achievement, underachievements. So you can take them. It is more of education. And it includes psychological inputs.
Yeah, for example, one can narrate the story of the ghost.
Yes.
So that is very much possible in case of the school setting.
Yes.
So
Yes, sir.
one must be very much careful about the context
Yes.
in which the student presents
So you
his
have to
narration.
look the background of the student, then
Yeah.
beginning, middle, and end story of the entire story. He has to cut
Entire
short.
story. Yeah.
Beginning, middle, and end story.
So the inclusion and exclusion criteria is important
Yes, sir. Yes.
for accuracy.
Accuracy also.
Dear students, any question? Maybe they are satisfied. So Shara, please give vote of thanks.
Yes, sir. Madhukar sir, this was the second session with you, and just like the first session, in today's session we had an in-depth discussion and explanation about the narrative technique in qualitative research method. I'm pretty sure the students have understood the concept as well. So the doubts that were raised have also been addressed very well by you. Thank you so much, and looking forward to many more sessions with you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Debilal sir. for
Thank you,
giving
sir.
In
It is
future, also,
nice.
I try to be in our team. We'll work
Okay.
together.
Sure, we are thankful to you. In near future, again, we will call you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good night, sir.
Good
Subrat.
night. Plus, okay, but students, you do not leave. So today, we have understood through the narrative story, that is the lived experience of the individual, that is accounted in the narrative approach, narrative research approach. So students, you have given some of the questions to Shara madam. So Shara, can you tell the question one by one so that we can discuss?
Sir, the research questions of the students, right?
Yeah, research question of the student.
Okay. Great. Okay. So she has given a topic. Many students have not yet framed it in the question format. Babita's topic is on mother's view regarding uses of mobile and behavioral problems of children.
Hello, Bhavita.
Yes, sir.
What is your research question? I have already given to you research question. No?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is that?
এক minute, sir.
Maybe something related to how mothers shape, like that. Sir Madhukar, now you can leave. No problem. Hello, Bhavita.
এক second, sir. Sir, how does smartphone shape child behavior in rural access or rural community?
Yeah. So suppose this is your question.
Yes, sir.
Then Which methodology you will follow? The qualitative aspect? You
Sir,
tell me.
I think that I have to search review of literature more in this topic. It is not possible for me to search it till now, sir. So I'm not able to tell you that research methodology. I have to take some time, sir.
Suppose you want to do the same thing through the narrative analysis or through the focus group discussion, then how you can design?
At that case, sir, I have to talk with the mother, every individual in case of narratives. Then I have to talk individual mothers regarding their uses of mobile phone of their children's for the shaping of their child behavior. And after that, I have to relate one by one.
But how do you select the sample?
In rural community, as my setting is rural community, so I can take school, sir. School children, if I am taking the school children, at that time setting will be my school.
So how do you elicit? Because you have to elicit the underlying factors, right? So
Yes,
how
sir.
do you elicit? Suppose it is in school setting, then how do you elicit? How we elicit? You can conduct one debate, right?
Yes, sir. At that case, sir, it is possible for me to conduct a debate within the mother community, sir.
No, actually, who is your target person? Whether the students your target or
Yes, sir. Yes,
mother?
sir. Students are my target person.
Then you have to make some debate with the students.
Among the students, sir.
You can do some essay writing.
After this debating, sir.
Yeah, without you can do different type of qualitative research.
Yes.
For example, you can do the you can directly interview with some of the students who are using the smartphone regularly.
Yes, sir. In that case, it will be focus group discussion, sir.
No, that will be the narrative analysis. And if you think about the focus group discussion, then the approach will be different. Then you have to organize one focus group of students, one focus group of the mother or parents. Then you can get the data. But the question comes, that is which question, how you elicit. The qualitative approach means you are eliciting the in-depth information. What is happening within the individual or within the target person.
In that case, I have to make the questions now. Which questions I have to ask to the student or the mother group, sir?
Yeah, then that is important. So you have to design the question in such a manner.
Yes, sir.
Or you have to design the essay writing. You have to design the debate in such a manner so that you can get maximum information.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
In any case, you have to be very careful about the sample selection.
Okay, sir.
Who will be your sample? For example, the students who are not using smartphone regularly. So they are not your sample.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have to find out.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So who is the next one, Shara?
Sir, Devjani's topic is effect of music therapy on depression, psychosocial functioning, and self-esteem among patients with depressive disorder of selected tertiary care hospitals in Kolkata. The question is how and why the patients feel depressed and how psychosocial functioning has an effect for depression among patients with depressive disorders.
Okay. Therefore, what will be that sample design? From whom data are to be collected? Hello, Devjani, are you here?
Yes, sir. Sir, it may analysis the content or narrative analysis.
Yeah, you can do the narrative analysis or you can do the content analysis. That
Yes,
is
sir.
possible. So the narrative analysis you can apply, but
Yes, sir.
very much careful about the sample.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So who is the next one, Shara?
Sir, Ingvama, her question is, what are the environmental factors that drive youth towards drug addiction?
Acha. So basically she is searching the contextual factors.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I think in her place, there are many drug addiction centers. So she can organize some focus group discussion there.
Sir, I have a question actually.
Yeah.
So I was under the impression that this was supposed to be a case study because in the beginning we were notified that we will have to undertake two case studies, one single and one multiple. So I was under the impression that all of us would have to follow the same design, like with case studies.
I cannot follow what you're telling. Shara, can you help me? What she is telling?
Sir, I think in the beginning, first or the second class, Ma'am Sarah, she told us that we would be having practicals. So she told us that we would have to take two case studies, and then you asked us to choose a research question. So I was actually under the impression that we would be doing case studies based on these research questions.
Yeah, so your research question is this one, right? She related
Yes.
to the factors contributing drug addiction.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you have a lot of the drug addiction center in Meghalaya, in
No,
Assam,
sir,
in the
I
northeast
don't
states.
think
There are many centers are there in Guwahati, many centers are there. So you can conduct some focus group, number one. Number two, you can do the narrative analysis. You can take some interview. That is also possible.
Yes, sir.
So in this way, you can get the information. But provided you should know the person who is drug addicted.
Yes, sir. I actually do know a few people. I am in contact with them.
And do you know what are the factors are contributing for drug addiction?
Yes, sir. Actually, I have talked to those people, and most of them, most of the youths here who have drug addiction, one of the major factors is family issues.
Mm-hmm.
So
Family issues means?
Problems with families or parental or maybe divorce or parental conflicts. So these are some of the factors, contributing factors.
Yeah, sometimes some parents, they are drug addicted and their children are following that path. Sometimes it is due to the role model conflict. For that reason,
Yes.
individual is drug addicted. Another thing, that is the easy availability, access to the drug. So that is also factor. So in this way, you can think about it. So both you can conduct focus group discussion, you can conduct the narrative analysis. Who is next? Shara?
Sir, it is Kashish. Kashish also has the topic on substance abuse, and her research question is, how does substance abuse by caregivers affect children of the household?
Hello, Kashish. Kashish is not here. Okay.
So she was there in the meeting. I think she has left.
She has left. Okay. She
Uh,
can
so-
explain how the caregiver. Yeah.
Hmm.
So she has to collect the data from the caregiver if
Hmm.
there is some access.
Yes, sir. So should I move on to the next
Next.
student? The next topic is by Madhu. Her topic is well-being of marginalized late adolescents. And the research question is, what are the various temperamental protecting factors against high-risk behavior among marginalized late adolescents?
This marginalized means lower socioeconomic group, she has told. So, so which method she is suggesting?
Sir, hello.
Yes, Madhu, please.
Yes, sir. So I have revised the question and
Okay.
reframed it to the. Can you just give me 1 second, sir?
You ask the question in such a manner so that you can get maximum information through the lived experience.
Yes, sir. So the reframed question is what are the protective factors that contribute to resilience and positive outcomes among adolescents residing in low socioeconomic families?
Okay, so when you are talking about the resilience,
yes,
that means resilience from?
Resilience from basic setbacks, sir, that we face in life. The challenges basically.
No, for example, Corona is there, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you have noted that is some people in the lower socioeconomic group, they are able to develop resilience very quickly in comparison with the other group. Okay, so that may be your question.
So psycho-emotional resilience, then I would say.
Yeah, so psycho-emotional, you have to operationally define.
Okay, sir.
Whenever you are writing any question,
yes, sir.
The technical term should be operationally defined. Otherwise, your methodology will be disturbed.
Sure, sir. I'll do that.
Okay. Because setbacks are of different types.
Yes.
We
yes.
do not have any knowledge. Any sort of trauma, that is a setback.
Yes.
Interpersonal conflict, that is also the setback. Okay. natural disaster, that is also setback. So resilience out of what? That is important.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. Shara, next.
So next is Mona Lisa. She has multiple questions though. Mona Lisa, could you tell me please which one is the question that you're going ahead with?
Mona Lisa is not here.
She was in the meeting. Her topic is mostly about the impact of artificial intelligence tools, usage on purchase behavior. And she is trying to focus on e-shopping consumers and e-commerce companies in Odisha. There are 5 questions that she has listed down, sir. Should I read all of them?
No, at least limit only one question. 5 questions at a time is not possible. It is a 1-month program. At least one should collect the data in such a manner so that at least one question can be answered. Okay, when she will be available, then we can talk.
Yes. Then we have Reena. Reena's question, no, Reena's topic is effect of Android phone use by nursing students during clinical hours on patient care in selected hospitals.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening, Reena.
Sir, I have changed my topic. Oh, this is one previous, but now I have selected another topic, which was yesterday told you. Acceptance regarding the nursing profession while pursuing a 4 years nursing course, a student nurse perspective.
Yeah, this is a very, very important issue. I think you can explore many things as the nurse. So you can do the narrative analysis. This is better.
Sir,
because
so,
there are a lot of personal experiences are there. It is very in-depth.
that is true, but the time is very short. So how can I complete my narrative analysis in this short period? Previous day you suggest me to do the focus group interview, so I am
Focus group interview, I think is not applicable here. Narrative analysis is better because at least you have to discuss this issue with some senior nurses.
yes,
They can tell you that is okay. Initially, we are not accepting, but later we are accepting. And what are the underlying reasons for that?
sir, in case of narrative analysis, how many students I can take as sample?
You can take 1 or 2 samples, no problem.
Okay, sir.
But it should be date.
Okay.
It should be open-ended, and you have to probe repeatedly.
Yes.
Because your purpose is to explore the underlying reasons.
Yes.
And again, since you are the nurse, you know the underlying reasons. So you can verify that one also.
Yes, sir.
Okay, anything more?
No,
Thank you,
sir, before going to the implementation narrative analysis, should I prepare one blueprint of questionnaire in my hand?
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Your questionnaire will be open-ended.
Okay.
It should not be close-ended so that you can explore maximum information.
Yes. Okay, sir.
But you must be very much careful. That is your subject or your participant will be very much cooperative to you.
Yes.
and you have to maintain the privacy of the
Yes.
information. That
Okay.
is important for all sorts of research.
Yes. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mm.
Shara, who is the next?
Sir, it is Naveen. Naveen's topic is how do digital transactions and the availability of online payment platforms shape individuals' spending choices in urban environment?
How? Sorry, I cannot follow many questions.
How do digital transactions and the availability of online payment platforms shape the individual's spending choices in the urban environment?
Okay, so he can do the focus group discussion. Through the focus group discussion, he can get idea. Narrative analysis also it's possible. But it should be target oriented. Because the sample is very important here. Naveen is here. So Naveen, would you like to add something? Hello, Naveen. Maybe some network problem. Okay, Shara, next.
Sir, next is Sharvari. She hasn't given a question. The topic is pro-environmental attitudes and behavior.
Yeah, that is a very good topic. I like it very much. Pro-environmental attitude and behavior, because there is a gap between the pro-environmental attitude and pro-environmental behavior. And I have noted it is due to the economic factor, mainly the economic factor. That is possible, but again, it will take much time because it is very much quantitative in nature. And otherwise, she has to follow another technique, that is the debate or the essay writing. Okay, Sharvari, you can do
I
that
did
one.
not understand, sir, about the essay part.
Because you want to explore you want to explore the gap, right, between the pro-environmental attitude and pro-environmental behavior.
Yes, sir.
So there is a gap basically. And if you want to explore why this gap is there, you can conduct some debate or you can conduct some essay writing. There you can get a lot of the information. Focus group discussion, yes, that is also possible.
Yeah,
That
but
is also
sir, like in focus group discussion, if I only get people who are for or only get people who are against, so
that is the major problem, because I have done the similar research and I have noted that is I do not find the people who are against the environment, but there are many people they are against the environmental issues, but they are again the confused. For example, the real estate people, they do not prefer this pro-environmental behavior, but again, they are also confused. So a lot of the confusion is there. So my perception, mainly it is the economic reason. People are not following the pro-environmental behavior.
Okay. So, sir, if I assume that my participants are pro-environmental and not assume that, like they might be against, so maybe then I can explore, like, why is there a gap? Like, why are they not translating
No,
their...
for that reason, my point that is if you conduct some debate, then you will get the for and against. Okay.
Okay.
There you can find out.
Okay.
If you conduct the debate, then you can elicit.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it becomes very difficult for you to collect the individual.
Mm.
Through the debate, you can get it.
Okay.
And focus group discussion, if it possible, that is also because there are many people, they are not following the pro-environmental behavior.
Mm.
But how to collect? I have no idea. For example, one of my students in Darjeeling, he conducted one research and he told me, sir, our climate is very bad nowadays because a lot of the landslides and many things due to the real estate development. But when he collected data from the real estate people, they are also telling the positive attitude. So that is not truth.
Mm.
Okay, so at least this is a very confusion. And many researches have been conducted on this issue. To me, it is mainly economic factor. People are not following the pro-environmental behavior due to the economic reason.
Yeah. So I haven't done the review of literature yet, but I'll see like what methods have been used before, and then maybe I can get back to you again.
Sure. It's a very good topic, but it takes lot of the time. Therefore, since you have only 1 month, it is a 1 month course, no? So you cannot spend much time.
Okay.
Debate is one possibility. And
Okay.
through that debate, you can get more information.
Okay.
That is the qualitative approach.
Okay,
Or
sir.
you can study some document analysis.
Okay, sir. I'll look into it.
There are some movies also.
What, sir?
Some movies are also there.
Okay.
At this moment, I cannot remember the name, but a lot of the movies are there regarding the conflict between real estate people and the common people.
Okay, sir. I'll look into it.
For example, recently held the destruction of a tower in Delhi. Can you remember?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So that is the same thing, pro-environmental attitude and pro-environmental behavior. So it appears to me it is mainly economic reason.
Okay.
Or the lifestyle. Lifestyle is the factor. I have developed the concept psychographic profile, but that takes a lot of the time for collection of the data, validation, many things. That is not possible. Or you can organize some conference, workshop through RPRIT. RPRIT can provide you this type of support.
Okay, sir.
If you are interested. Shara, next.
Sir, next is Subrata's topic. It's on the progression of vision impairment among diabetic patients and the risk of depression. Unmet, just a second, sir. Sorry, where was I? Progression of vision impairment among diabetic patients and the risk of depression, unmet needs and nursing management protocol. And her research question is, what are the unmet needs of vision impairment diabetic patients for the risk of depression? That's her question.
Okay, so she can collect this data from the physician and also the nurses and the patient population. So,
so which type of qualitative study I'll do?
This is mainly the narrative. It is not the focus group discussion. It is the narrative.
Okay. Our questionnaire will be developed.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
opinion.
For opinion.
Mm.
You have
there
to
is the mobility
data from 3 people, from physician, from nurses, concerned nurses. Physician mainly dealing with the diabetic and vision related, yeah.
And
so
patient also.
Yeah, and the patient.
The different question will be developed for physician also and nurses and patient also.
Yeah, so that you can find out the unmet needs. You want to explore the unmet needs, right?
Unmet need.
So
there is some fear is there for the progression of the vision impairment, and there is a mobility problem, activity limitation, and the psychological impact and psychosocial impact. There cannot attend any social program or social function. There is a visual symptom also there. There are also feelings, anxiety also. That also are the risks of depression. We can explore.
I understand if you use the anxiety, depression, so that is the global term. Instead of you can identify the specific type of anxiety, specific type of lifestyle.
Yes.
That is important.
Okay. So I develop question here and then I contact you.
Sure.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anything more, Shara?
Sir, Sumana and Tanvi are not in the meeting. We still have Tejal's question. Do we have time to discuss it?
Yeah, what is the question?
So her research question is, what are the healthy ways to overcome the feeling of loneliness? And her second question is to find out reasons for gap between pro-environmental attitude and behavior. So she was confused between choosing between these two topics.
She can select only one topic, that is better, instead of the pro-environmental attitude and pro-environmental behavior. She can select only the pro-environmental behavior, because it appears to me that is individual's value pattern that influences pro-environmental behavior.
Sir, can I take the loneliness topic?
Yeah, loneliness topic includes what? I cannot follow. Sorry. What is the question? What is the question? Loneliness?
Yeah. What are the healthy ways to overcome a feeling of loneliness in young people living in urban areas?
Healthy strategies. She can think about the healthy strategies. That is better. And she has to find out the people who are basically lonely. And lonely, because the lonely includes two things. One is the psychological loneliness. Another one is the geographical or sociological loneliness. Psychological loneliness means everybody is with me, but nobody is talking with me. Nobody is sharing their emotion with me, and I am not able to share my emotion with others.
Psychological, sir.
So if it is a psychological, then that is important. Some of the healthy ways, because I do not want to spend a lot of the time for interaction with others, because I am interested to concentrate on my research. So for that reason, this is not at all loneliness to me. Okay. You can think that is okay, I am lonely, but I do not find that is I am lonely. Because this is my lifestyle. Number one. Number two, I am very much introverted in nature. Therefore, I do not like to spend much with others. Another issue is the social anxiety. If I have very high level of social anxiety, then I like to avoid other people. But if you think about the healthy line, then that might be a possible, because I am writing one book, I am doing some research. Therefore, I want to keep myself separated from others.
So basically my question was that like everyone at some point or the other feels lonely. Some might feel on regular basis or for a long time. So I want to explore what are the healthy ways they are using to overcome that feeling. So I need your guidance regarding this topic if it's appropriate to take it further.
Yeah, so if you want to collect that data, then you have to find out the people. That is, who are maintaining the healthy lifestyle despite of their loneliness.
Okay. And how can I do that?
Because I like to share some of my emotion. Okay. Now, there are a lot of avenues through which I can share my emotion. For example, I can share my emotion with social media. I can share my emotion with artificial intelligence. Right. I can share my emotion with writing some document, some research. So I can share, I can write one novel. For that reason, I don't want to spend my time with others. So loneliness sometimes is not the cause. Loneliness is the factor to facilitate myself. So you can conduct some debate program also. Many avenues are there. I think, Shara, everybody complete?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So dear students, thank you everybody. We have tried our best to satisfy your question. So please, you write down some of the methods that you may or may not follow, but please you write the methodology that you like to follow to get the research question. Okay. And please share it to Shara madam.
Also, students, please submit your assignments on time, because the marks will be deducted in case late submissions are happening. So please keep that in mind and submit it according to the deadline set. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Shara. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Best wishes to all of you.